Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of February 8th. The Parks, Arts, and Recreation Commission presented their 2021 work plan to the City Council this week. As always, the Commission's work plan is ambitious, but they are focused on the Park System Master Plan, and they're looking ahead to planning and implementing a number of park projects. The Park System Master Planning process is in its final stages and will be coming together later this spring. For more than a year, we've engaged the community on this initiative, and despite the obvious COVID-related challenges, it has generated significant and truly insightful input from thousands of residents. We've learned how Bloomington can improve our parks and what's important to you. Now we're putting your feedback to work. We're using that feedback along with a variety of studies and other analysis to help the city plan capital improvements and to ensure our parks, trails, facilities, and our recreational amenities serve the needs of the community today and for many years to come. You've told us some of your priorities, including maintaining or improving environmental sustainability and resiliency, ensuring equity in the park system, and continuing to improve connectivity between our parks and trails. This kind of input is vital to help shape the final master plan. In January, staff introduced the vision, mission, and guiding principles and reviewed the initial recommendations for proposed new park amenities based on input received at Let's Talk Bloomington, the city's web-based community engagement platform. In addition to feedback surveys, the site also contains information about the master plan and about the process that's being used to develop it. The Parks Commission and our staff, they're digesting all of that information, and they'll be drafting several documents that will provide even more detail on the direction of the master plan. Our Parks, Arts and Recreation Commission members are doing a great job to help guide the process. I want to extend my gratitude to them. They are an important reflection of the broader community, and they provide another important voice on behalf of you, the stakeholders in this process, the users of the system, and the participants in our programs. Very soon, you'll be able to see those draft documents. You can continue to provide input on the Park System Master Plan by visiting Let's Talk Bloomington at blm.mn/Let's Talk. I've shared with you before that one of the Council's strategic priorities is focused renewal. Over the past 18 months, we have been working on a really important piece of that effort, a plan to foster strategic redevelopment along the Lyndale Avenue corridor. As we heard from our staff and consultant team this week, that plan is nearing completion. The draft plan describes strategies to help guide and to shape redevelopment and to make the corridor more attractive, more walkable, and more sustainable. The recommendations are rooted in the extensive community input collected over the past year through a variety of events and outreach activities. The plan identifies actions the city can take proactively to stimulate redevelopment, as well as having a plan in place when opportunities arise. Now, with large area plans like this, it's important to remember that redevelopment will occur over many, many years. But once the plan is adopted, implementation can begin right away. And that means working with private property and business owners to understand their future plans. It means reaching out to the development community to gauge their interest, and it means having a solid financial plan to take advantage of opportunities. To be successful, the city will need to strategically target resources to attract private reinvestment, and we need to build on public investments, such as the Orange Line BRT station, which is scheduled to open later this year. The plan recommends giving highest priority to the Lyndale Avenue corridor areas around 98th and 86th Street. It also recommends several improvements to the public realm, sidewalks, street trees, and parks to help transform the appearance and perception of this aging corridor and to make it safer and more accommodating to pedestrians and bicyclists of all ages and all abilities. Moving forward with the proposed enhancements to the physical character of this corridor, along with zoning flexibility for a range of land uses, are some of the most effective actions the city can take to set the table and send a clear signal about the city's aspirations for this corridor, which is the traditional heart of Bloomington. Public hearings on the approval of the final plan are anticipated in March at the Planning Commission and in April before the City Council. More information on the Lyndale Avenue retrofit can be found at Let's Talk Bloomington. Later this year, Metro Transit will open the new Orange Line bus rapid transit route. The Orange Line runs from Burnsville to downtown Minneapolis with two Bloomington stations, one at the 98th Street Transit Center near 35W, and one in the Pan American District at American Boulevard and Knox Avenue. The Orange Line will greatly improve transit service in Bloomington. In addition to reliable and frequent service to downtown Minneapolis and the other stations along the way, the Orange Line will open up many transfer possibilities and will improve the reverse commute headed south. A little known fact is that many more Minneapolis residents work in Bloomington than Bloomington residents work in Minneapolis. The Orange Line and the buses it connects with will greatly improve transit access to Bloomington jobs. At our last council meeting, Metro Transit staff provided an overview of several changes they're proposing to bus routes in Bloomington. The changes are needed to make sure that connections with the Orange Line are optimized and that all routes work together as well as possible to allow for transfers. The pandemic has been tough on transit. Metro Transit reported that their revenue is down by more than 50% while their costs have gone up. Unfortunately, resources aren't available to have a perfect transit system, and honestly, they never have been. Still, Metro Transit has prepared a plan that brings several improvements to Bloomington bus routes. Some of the improvements include a new continuous route on Lyndale Avenue, improved east-west service within Bloomington, and better transit service in some areas that have a higher concentration of jobs. Metro Transit is seeking public input on the proposed changes through February 22nd, and I encourage you to learn more about the changes and provide your feedback at one of the virtual public meetings or through the project survey, which is available in English, Spanish, and Somali. And finally, you may have seen yesterday the statement from Bloomington Fire Chief Yuli Seal regarding the incident last summer where a rope tied into a crude noose was found in the locker of a Bloomington firefighter who was black. After the incident was reported, the city of Bloomington asked the FBI to take on the investigation. In the 7 months since, FBI agents have conducted dozens of interviews, sent the rope to the FBI's lab in Quantico, Virginia for forensic examination, and have followed up on every lead they could find. At this point, there is no conclusive evidence linking any individual or group to the incident. For now, the city and the FBI consider this case closed. Frankly, I'm disappointed that we don't have answers. Many Bloomington residents have told me how upsetting this incident is, and frankly, I couldn't agree more. I'm disappointed that the FBI investigation couldn't uncover conclusive evidence and that we can't definitively say what happened. However, there are some things that we can say definitively. A resident of our community, a Bloomington City employee, came forward and reported that he found what he believed to be a noose in his locker. It was upsetting enough to him that he reported it to his supervisor, and it took guts to do so. All you need to do is read some of the garbage on social media to understand that. As Chief Seal said in June, the firefighter who brought this to our attention has demonstrated extreme strength and bravery and has done the right thing. That still stands. We can also say definitively, as I first said when this first became public, that this is a serious issue, that the city took it seriously, and that there is a strong commitment by the city of Bloomington, including the fire department, to being a safe and respectful place to work for all employees. That also still stands. Finally, we can say definitively that equity and inclusion remains a strategic priority of the Bloomington City Council. And I have been saying publicly for months that the call to action to advance racial equity in our community is urgent. I recognize that there is work to do in the city of Bloomington, both in our organization and in our community. If we truly want to be a safe and inclusive city, we can't shy away from doing the work. That fact also stands. That's a wrap on this week's Council Minute. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, stay safe, Bloomington.